goodness sake, good riddance.
I have not slept a wink.
My own flesh and blood.
It was Greek to me.
Too much of a good thing.
Into thin air.
A foregone conclusion.
A tower of strength.
A fool's paradise.
Pomp and circumstance.
Bag and baggage. Play fast and loose.
Wild goose chase.
If you have used these expressions in your everyday life, then you've been quoting Shakespeare. He coined these phrases.
Elbow room. Hold a candle to.
Kill with kindness.
Dead as a doornail.
Laughing stock.
Love letter.
Love is blind.
Skim milk.
Shooting star.
Star-crossed lovers.
Short shrift.
Sorry sight.
More fool you.
One fell swoop.
And who among us has not used the phrase?
William Shakespeare wrote of Cleopatra, age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety.
Today, almost 450 years after Shakespeare wrote those words, we apply that phrase to the author most quoted the world has ever known. Age cannot wither him, nor custom stale his infinite variety.
We invite you to join us for a sampling of that variety with the best actors in the world, either for tragedy,
Comedy. Pastoral.
Pastoral comical.
Historical pastoral.
Tragical historical.
Tragical, comical, historical, pastoral.
Scene indivisible.
Or poem unlimited.
Where all the world's a stage and all the men and women
Merely players.
Is all our company here?
You are best to call them generally, man by man, according to the script.
Here is the scroll of every man's part, which is thought fit to play our interlude before the Duke and the Duchess on their wedding day at night.
First, good Quince, say what the play treats on.
Mary, our play is the most lamentable comedy and most cruel death of Pyramus and Thisbe.
A very good piece of work, I assure you. And Mary. Now, good Quince, name forth your actors by the scroll. Masters, spread yourselves.
Answer as I call you. Nick Bottom, the Weaver.
Here, name what part I am for and proceed.
Nick Bottom, you are set down for Pyramus.
And what is a Pyramus? A lover? A tyrant?
A lover that kills himself most gallant for love.
This will ask some tears in the true performing of it. If I do, let the audience look to their eyes. I will move storms. I will condole in some measure. The raging rocks and shivering shocks shall break the locks of prison gates. And Phoebus' car, which shines from far, will make and mar the foolish fates. This is lofty. Now, name the rest of the players.
Francis Flute, the bellows mender.
Here, Peter Quince.
Flute, you must take Thisbe on you.
What is Thisbe? A wandering maid?
It is the lady that Pyramus must love.
You're playing a girl. Nay, Faith, let me not play a woman. I have a beard coming.
And I may hide my face. Let me play Thisbe too. I will speak in a monstrous little tone. Thisbe, Thisbe. Ah, Pyramus, lover dear, thy Thisbe dear, and lady dear.
No, you must play Pyramus, and Flute, you Thisbe.
Well, proceed.
Robin Starveling, the tailor.
Here, Peter Quince.
Robin Starveling, you must play Pyramus's mother. Tom Snout, the tinker.
Here, Peter Quince.
You, Pyramus's father. Myself, Thisbe's father. Snug, the joiner, you the lion's part. And I hope there is a play fitted.
Have you the lion's part written? Pray you, if it be, give it to me, for I am slow of study.
You may do it extempore, for it is nothing but roaring.
Roar!
Let me play the lion too. I will roar that I will do any man's heart good to hear me. I will roar that I will make the Duke say, let him roar again. Let him roar again.
And you should do it too terribly. You would frighten the Duchess and the ladies that they would shriek, and that would be enough to hang us all.
That would hang us, every mother's son,
But I will aggravate my voice so that I will roar you and 'twere any nightingale. I will roar you and 'twere any sucking dove.
You must play Pyramus. For Pyramus is a sweet-faced man, a proper man, as one shall see on a summer's day, a lovely, most gentlemanlike man. Therefore, you must needs play Pyramus.
Well, I'll undertake it.
Masters, here are your scripts. I am to entreat you, request you, and require you to con them by tomorrow night.
Peter Quince,
What sayest thou, Bullybottom?
there are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe that will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword and kill himself, which ladies cannot abide. How answer you that?
Fire Lockin, a parlous fear.
I believe we should leave the killing out when all is said and done.
Nay, I have a device to make all well. Write me a prologue, and have the prologue seem to say, we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not killed indeed. And for more better assurance, tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus, but instead am Bottom the Weaver. This will put them out of fear.
Well, there will be such a prologue, and it shall be written in 8 and 6.
Make it 2 more. Have it written in 8 and 8.
Will not the ladies be afeared the lion?
I fear it, I promise you.
Masters, to bring in, God shield us, a lion among ladies is a most dreadful thing, for there is not a more fearful wildfowl than your lion living, and we ought to look to it.
Therefore, another prologue shall tell that he is not a lion.
Nay, you must name his name, and he himself must say, ladies, or fair ladies, I would request you, or I would wish you, or I would entreat you, not to fear, not to tremble. For if you think I come hither as a lion, I am no such thing. I am a man as other men are. And there he will name his name and tell them plainly he is Snug the Joiner.
Well, if that is it, then all is well. But there are 2 hard things. That is to bring moonlight into a chamber. For Pyramus and Thisbe did meet by moonlight.
One must come in with a bush of thorns and lantern and say that he comes to present or to disfigure the person of Moonshine.
Well, there is another thing. That is to bring a great wall into the chamber. For, as you know, Pyramus and Thisbe did talk through the chink of a wall.
You can never bring in a wall. What say you, Bottom?
Some man or other must come in and present wall. He will hold his fingers thus, and through this cranny shall Pyramus and Thisbe whisper.
Well, all is well. Tomorrow meet me in the palace wood. A mile without the town. There will we rehearse.
We will meet. And we will rehearse most obscenely and courageously. Let every man look over his part. Let Thisbe wear clean linen, and let he who plays the lion not pare his nails, for they shall hang out for claws. And most dear actors, eat no onions or garlic, for we are to utter sweet breath, and I do not doubt but to hear them say it is a sweet comedy. No more words. Away. Go away.
All the world's a stage.
And all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and their entrances.
And one man.
In his time,
Plays many parts.
Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags.
the play I remember, please not the millions. 'Twas caviar to the general.
'Tis 10 to 1, this play can never please all that are here. Some come to take their ease and sleep an act or two.
For some must watch, while some must sleep. Thus runs the world away.
Play out the play!
What mask? What music? How shall we beguile the lazy time, if not with some delight?
Shakespeare delighted audiences with his comedies, and one of his chief comic devices was mistaken identity.
That's my line. And one of his chief comic devices was mistaken identity.
In The Comedy of Errors, a wife mistakes her husband's long-lost twin for her husband.
Antipholus.
But soft, who walks yonder?
I, Antipholus, look strange and frown. Some other mistress hath thy sweet aspects. I am not Adriana nor thy wife. The time was once when thou unurged wert thou, that never words were music to thine ears, that never object pleasing to thine eye, that never touch well welcome to thine hand, that never meat sweet savor to thy taste, unless I spake, or looked, or touched, or carved to thee. How comes it now? My husband, oh, how comes it that thou art thus estranged from thyself? Ah, do not tear thyself away from me. For no, my love, as easy mayest thou drop a water in the breaking gulf, and take that same drop without addition or mingling. Take from me thyself, and not me too. How dearly would it touch me to the quick, should thou hear that I were licentious, and that this body, consecrate to thee by ruffian lust, was contaminate? Would thou not spit at me, and spurn at me, and hurl the name of husband in my face? Would thou not tear the stained skin off my harlot brow, and cut from my false hand the wedding ring with the deep divorcing vow? I know that thou can't, therefore I see thou do it. I'm possessed from the adulterate plot. My blood is mingled with the crime of lust. For if we two be one and thou play false, I do digest the poison of thy flesh, being strumpeted by thy contagion. Keep then far league and truce with thy true bed. I live unstained, thou undishonored.
To me she speaks. She moves me to her theme. What? Was I married to her in a dream? Or sleep now I and think I'm hearing all this?
Come, no, put the finger in the eye and weep. Come, I will fasten on the sleeve of thine. Thou art an elm, my husband, I a vine. Come, Antipholus, play the porter well.
Am I in earth, in heaven, or in hell? Hello there, everybody.
Howdy.
How y'all doing tonight?
How we doing?
Awesome.
Can we get a head count of how many people are infected with the plague?
Of course.
Expect how many corpses, courtesy to maintenance. Alright, we got
Come on, raise those hands.
Just
Where's
here.
the flag?
She's-
Glad the crowd tonight. Hey, we never introduced ourselves.
Oh,
Silly us. I'm Jester Plus.
and I'm Jester Minus.
Alrighty. Oh,
Minus.
Yes.
You'll never believe what happened to me the other day.
What might that be, Plus?
I was dubbed a knight.
Oh, what a high honor.
I know, it's amazing, but I think that my king thinks I've gotten a bit rounder lately.
What makes you say that?
Well, he dubbed me Circumference. Okay, but seriously, being a knight is a high honor. I must be chivalrous and follow the code of honor. What's so funny about that?
Didn't you hear? Chivalry's dead.
What?
Well, it should have been dead a long time ago. I mean, the amount of female...
Here we go. All right.
It's insane. Sir Plus, where art thou? I can't see. It's dark.
Too bad you don't have night vision.
All right, Emily, let's get some lights up here.
All right, but seriously, this is the first king who has ever wanted me to be their knight.
Well, I can tell you...
Whoa. Just last week, the king at the Castle of Ears denied all 4 of my applications.
I can tell you why that is, Plus.
Bid me what thou hast to say.
There once lived a gent named Plus. He was quite chivalrous, but he could not be a gent for the King of Ears. The King of Ears did not want a Sir Plus. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Another Shakespearean comic device is the use of a letter. Sometimes, as in The Merry Wives of Windsor, casually dropped, so the recipient will find it.
What, have I escaped love letters in the holiday time of my beauty, and am I now a subject for them? Let me see. Ask me no reason why I love you. You are not young. No more am I. Go to then their sympathy. You are merry, so am I. Would you desire better sympathy? You love sack, and so do I. Would you desire better sympathy? Let it suffice thee, Mistress Page, that is if the love of a soldier can suffice, that I love thee. Well, I will not say pity me, 'tis not a soldier-like phrase, but instead I say, love thee, thine own true knight, by day or night, or any kind of light, with all his might, for thee to fight. John Falstaff. What Herod of Jewry is this? O wicked world, one that is well nigh worn to pieces to show himself a young gallant. Why, this Flemish drunkard hath not been thrice in my company. What shall I say to him? How shall I be revenged on him? For revenged I shall be, as sure as his guts are made of puddings.
Oh, Mr. Page! Trust me, I was coming to your house.
Trust me, I was coming to you. You look very ill.
Nay, I'll never believe that.
Faith, but you do in my mind.
Well, I do then. Yet I say I could show you to the contrary. Oh, Mr. Page, give me some counsel.
What is it, woman?
Oh, if it were not for some trifling respect.
Hang the trifle, woman. What is it? What is it?
If I were to go to hell for an eternal moment, I could be knighted.
What thou liest, Sir Alice Ford?
We burn daylight. Here, read. Perceive how I might be knighted. I shall think the worst of fat men as long as I can make the difference in men liking. What tempest through this whale with all those tons of oil in his belly? How shall I revenge on him? I think the best way were to entertain him with hope, so the wicked fire of lust melt in his own grace. Did you ever hear the like?
Letter for letter, but the name of Page and Ford differs. Here's the twin brother of thy letter. I warrant he hath 1,000 of these letters, writ with blank spaces for different names. He will print them out of doubt, for he cares not what he puts into the press.
Why, these are the very same, the very hands, the very words. What doth he think of us?
Nay, I know not. For as sure as he knows something in me that I know not in myself, he would never have boarded me within his sphere.
Boarding, call you it? I'll be sure to keep him above deck.
So will I. If he ever come under mine hatches, I'll never to see again. Let's be revenged on him.
Let's appoint him a meeting.
Give him a share of comfort in his suit, and lead him on with fine baited delay till he hath pawned all his horses to mine own host of the Garter.
Nay! I will consent to any act of villainy against him that does not silly or honest. Oh, that my husband saw this letter. It would give eternal food to his jealousy.
Why, look, here he comes, and my good man too. And they look about as far from jealousy as we are from giving them cause.
You are the happier woman.
Let's consult against this greasy knight. Come hither.
sage, rosemary, and thyme, without no seams nor needlework, then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to make me a cambric shirt, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, without no seams nor needlework. Then she'll be a true love of mine. Then she'll be a true love of mine.
Then there is the letter that the recipient pretends not to want, as in the two gentlemen of Verona.
But say, Lucetta, of all the fair resort gentlemen, in thy opinion, which is worthiest love?
Well, please you repeat their names, and I'll show my mind according to my shallow and simple skill.
What thinks thou of the fair Sarglemore?
Of a knight, well-spoken, neat and fine, but were I you, he never should be mine.
What thinks thou of the rich Mercatio?
Well of his wealth, but of himself, so.
What thinks thou of the gentle Proteus?
Lord, Lord, to see what folly reigns in us.
Tell now, what makes his passion his name?
Pardon, madam, 'tis a passing shame that I, unworthy body as I am, should censure thus on such lovely gentlemen.
Why not Proteus, as of all the rest?
Then thus, of many good, I think him best.
Your reason?
I have no other but a woman's reason. I think him so because I think him so.
And wouldst thou have me cast my love on him?
Aye, if you thought your love not cast away.
I would I knew his mind.
Peruse this paper, madam.
To Julia. Say, from whom?
That the contents will show.
Say, who gave it thee?
Valentine's page, and sent, I think, from Proteus. He would have given it to you, but I, being in the way, did in your name receive it. Pardon the fault, I pray.
Now, by my modesty, a goodly broker, dare you presume to harbor wanton lines, to whisper and conspire against my youth? This babble shall not henceforth trouble me. Here's a coil of protestation. Go, get you gone, and let the paper slide. You be fingering them to anger me.
She makes it strange, but she would be best pleased to be so angered with another letter.
Nay, but it were so angry with the same. Oh, hateful hands, to tear such loving words! Injurious wasp, to feed on such sweet honey, and kill the bees that yield of your stings. I'll kiss thee trouble paper for amends. And look, here is writ, kind Julia, unkind Julia, as a revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And look, here is writ, love-wounded Proteus, poor wounded name, my bosom as a bed, shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed, and thus I search you with southern kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word away, till I found each letter in the letter. Look, here in one line is his name twice writ, poor forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, to the sweet Julia. That'll tear away. And yet, I will not. Sif so prettily, he couples it against his complaining names. Thus, I will fold one onto another. Now kiss, embrace, contend. Do what you will.
Madam, dinner is ready, and your father stays.
Well, let us go.
What, shall these papers lie like telltales here?
If you respect them, best to take them up. They seem to have a month's mind to them.
Aye, madam. You may say what sights you see. I see things too, although you judge I wake.
Come, will please you go?
Of all the money that
me some music, music, moody food of us to share and love.
This music crept by me upon the water, allaying both its fury and my passion with its sweet air. Once I sat upon a promontory and heard a mermaid on a dolphin's back, uttering such a dulcet and harmonious breath that the rude sea grew civil at her song, and certain stars shot madly from their spheres to hear the sea maid's music.
The man that hath no music in himself, nor is not moved by sweet concord of sounds, is fit for treasons, stratagems, and spoils. Let no such man be trusted.
I am never merry when I hear sweet music.
How sour sweet music is. When time is broken, no proportion kept. Thus is the music in men's lives.
I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs.
If music be the food of love, play on!
Play on!
One, two, three, love!
Shakespeare had quite a few things to say about that subject.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
Love is a familiar. Love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love.
Whoever loved, that loved not at first sight.
For aught that I could ever read, could ever hear by tale or history, the course of true love never did run smooth.
Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
Love is blind, and lovers cannot see the pretty follies that themselves commit.
This is the very ecstasy of love.
Speak low if you speak love.
Love can transform me to an oyster.
Some Cupid kills with arrows, some with traps.
Doubt that the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth shine, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt that I love.
What stature is she of? It's just as high as my heart.
I will wear my heart upon my sleeve.
I'll smother thee with kisses.
I cannot be mine own, nor anything to any, if I be not thine.
I know no ways to mince in love, unless directly to say, I love you. Come again, sweet love doth now invite thy graces that refrain to do me due delight, to see, to hear, to touch, to kiss, to die with me again in sweetest sympathy, to see, to hear, to touch, to kiss, to die with thee again in sweetest sympathy.
Perhaps the most beautiful expression of young love ever written is the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet.
What soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou her maiden art far more fair than she. It's my lady, oh, it is my love, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fair stars in all the heavens, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What her eyes were there, they in her head. Her eyes were through the airy region, streamed so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I might be a glove upon that hand, and I might touch that cheek.
Me?
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel.
Oh, Romeo. R-O-M-E-O. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name that which we call a rose? By any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would. Were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus be screened in the night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, and yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place of death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings dart o'erpass these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. What love can do that dares love attempt. Therefore, thy kinsmen are of no let to me.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden's blush bepaint my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take that at the word. Yet, if thou swearest, thou may prove false. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love me, pronounce it faithfully. Or, if thou thinkst time should quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay. So thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. And therefore, thou mayst think my behavior light, but trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those who are more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I swear, with tips of silver, all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove a likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my adultery, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's your love.
Do not swear at all, although I join thee. I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, to an advice too sudden. To like the lightning, which doth cease to be ear, one can say, it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when we next meet.
Or wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank, and I give it thee again, and yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Madam!
I hear noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet good night.
O blessed, blessed night, I am afeard. Being in night, all this is but a dream. Too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, and by that which I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time will we perform thy rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madam!
I come anon, but if thou meanst not well, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come, to cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worst to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys for their books, but love from love, toward school with heavy looks.
Hist, Romeo, hist.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silvery sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My dear,
I've forgotten why to call thee back.
let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget again to have thee still stand here, remembering how I love thy company.
And I will stand here to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning, I would have thee gone again, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with his silver thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I, and yet I will kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dull in thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep in peace, so sweet to rest.
Machi. Minus. Minus. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's whatever. Don't worry.
All right, get your uniform on. The king's expecting a show. Oh, I wrote all these jokes. Here, get this one.
All right.
I'm William Shakespeare.
I'm William Stillspear.
The whole list of them. You see, we have so many jerks to work off on.
I just don't think we have time. It's intermission. And, like,
All
we
right.
have to...
Let's be honest. Shakespeare has a tendency to make up words. For example,
Doth, thy, thine, nay. What does he think, we're horses? Ridiculous.
Sorry. No, we need to tell the audience that there's food and drink.
to pun or not to pun, that is the question.
Minus! We don't have time. It's intermission. It's intermission time. We have to tell the audience that for the next 15 minutes, there's going to be the most delectable foods and drinks for them to delve in and eat and consume. Because the cast and crew of Much Ado About Will be right back.
And as said before,
I'm Jester Plus.
and I'm Jester Minus.
See you all in a bit.
Part of Shakespeare's enduring charm is that his plays and characters are open to many interpretations. Here is one such possibility. Sister, where art thou?
Killing swine.
And sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and she munched and munched. Give me, quoth I, a rointly which the rum-fed Iranian cried. Her husband's to a leper gone, master of the tiger. But in a sieve I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do.
Round about the cauldron go.
In the poison entrails throw.
Toad that under cold stone,
Days and nights has 31.
Swell-tooth venom sleeping gut.
boil thou first in the charmed pot.
Double.
Double.
Oh, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
I'll give thee a wind.
Lard cod.
Thy another.
I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the courters that they know, the shipman's card.
I'll drain him dry as hay.
Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid.
He shall live, a man forbid.
Weary 7 nights.
9 times 9.
Shall he dwindle, peak and pie?
Though his bark cannot be lost.
Yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have.
Show me.
Show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, racked his homeward, did he come.
The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, and thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9.
Peace, the charms wound up.
In a fillet of fenny and snake, a cauldron boil and bake.
Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing.
For a charm of powerful trouble,
Like a hellbroth, boil and bubble. Double.
double.
Toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw, gulf.
Of the ravened sea salt shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark.
Finger of a birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab.
Add thereto a tiger's chardon,
For the ingredients of our cauldron, double.
double.
Toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with the baboon's blood.
Well, then the charm is firm and good.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open lies.
Whoever knocks.
Show!
Show! Show! When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done. When the battle's lost and won.
Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air.
Hey now, spirit. Whither wander you?
Over hill, over dale, thorough bush, thorough briar, over park, over pale, thorough flood, thorough fire. I do wander everywhere, swifter than the moon's spear. And I do serve the fairy queen to do her orbs upon the green. The cowslips taller pensioners be in their gold coat spots, you see. Those be rubies, fairy favors, in their freckles of their savors. But I must go seek some dewdrops here, and place a pearl in every cowslip's ear. Farewell, thou lop spirits, all be gone. The queen and all our elves come here anon.
The king doth keep his revels here tonight. Take heed the queen not come within his sight. For Oberon is passing, fell and wrath, because that she is her attendant hath. A lovely boy, stolen from an Indian king. She never had so sweet a changeling, and jealous Oberon would have the child, knight of his train to trace the forests wild. But she, perforce, withholds the loved boy, crowns him with flowers and makes him all her joy. And now they never speak, in grove or green, by fountain clear, spangled starlight sheen. But they do swear that all their elves, for fear, creep into acorn cups and hide themselves there.
Either I mistake your shape and meek and quiet, or else you are that shrewd, knave sprite called Robin Goodfellow. Are you not he? That frights the maidens of the villagery, skim milk and sometimes labor in their quern, and bootless make the breathless housewife churn? Those a hobgoblin call you sweet Puck. You do their work and they shall have good luck. Are you not he?
Thou speakest right. I am that merry wanderer of the night. I jest to Oberon and make him smile when I a fat and bean-fed horse beguile, neighing in likeness of a filly foal, and sometimes lurk I in gossip's bowl. In very likeness of a roasted crab, and when she drinks against her lips I bob, and on her withered dewlap pour the ale, the wisest aunt telling the saddest tale. Sometimes for 3-foot stool mistaketh me, then slip I from her bum, down topples she, and Taylor cries and falls into a cough, and then the choir holds their hips and laughs, and wax in their mirth, and knees and swear. A merrier hour was never wasted there. But room, Fairy, here comes Oberon.
And here my mistress, would that he were gone.
Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hills to your darling. You choose the rose, love, and I I'll be your true love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. 'Twas down by Killarney's green woods that we strayed.
And the moon and the stars, they were shining.
The moon shone its rays on her locks of golden hair,
And she swore she'd be my love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any.
The poet's eye doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven.
And as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name.
Shakespeare wrote many words of advice, both good and bad, into the mouths of his characters, for he realized the little foolery that wise men have makes a great show.
There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together.
The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones.
The better part of valor is discretion.
Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on.
Oh, monstrous world! Take note! Take note, oh world! To be direct and honest is not safe.
Reputation, reputation, reputation. The purest treasure mortal times afford is spotless reputation. That away men are but gilded loam or painted clay.
Love all, trust few, do wrong to none.
Therefore, love moderately. Long love doth sow. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow.
Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows.
Many a good hanging prevents a bad marriage.
Well said. That was laid on with a trowel.
Wake not a sleeping wolf.
Give the devil his due.
Have more than thou showest. Speak less than thou knowest. Run less than thou owest.
Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Neither borrower nor lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend. This above all to thine own self be true, for it must follow as the day, thou canst not then be false unto any man.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
The rest is silence.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene.
Shakespeare loved to dramatize royalty.
25 different kings, real and imaginary, appear in his plays.
Meet Henry V,
Richard II,
Richard III,
and the man who killed a king to become one whose name we never mention.
from the Scottish play,
The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of a king.
Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace. There's nothing that so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you noblest English, whose blood was fet from fathers of warproof. Fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeoman, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us prove that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge God for Harry, England, and St. George!
Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper and write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so. For what can we bequeath, save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our land, our lives, and all are Bolingbroke's. And nothing can we call our own but death, and this small of barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the crown and tell sad stories of the deaths of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murder! For within the hollow crown, which rounds the temples of immortal king, keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state, and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarchize, be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our lives were brass impregnable. And humored thus, comes at the end, with a little pin, bores through his castle wall, and farewell, king! Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with ceremonious reverence. Throw away form, respect, tradition, and ceremonious duty, for you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel want, taste, grief, need, friends, and subjected thus, how can you say I am a king?
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious by this son of York. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern heirlooms changed to merry meetings, and our dreadful marches to delightful leisures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed this wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barded steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly into a lady's chamber, to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for such sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this piping time of peace,
have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee.
I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I have thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. I go and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark! Peace! It was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman which gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mock their charges with snores. I have drugged their possets, that death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What ho?
Alack, they have awaked. And 'tis not done, the attempt, and not the deed, confounds us. Hark, I laid their daggers ready, he could not miss them. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband.
I have done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended.
I.
Hark! This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought, to say a sorry sight.
There's one did laugh and sleep, and one cried murder that they did wake each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and address them again to sleep.
There are two lodged together.
One cried, God bless us, and amen. The other...
These deeds must not be fought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep. The innocent sleep. Sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care. The death of each day's life.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, sleep no more to all the house. Glamis hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain-sickly of things. Go, fetch some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand.
Why did you bring the daggers from the place? They must lie there! Go! Carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I am afraid to think what I have done. Look on it again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose! The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood which fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? What is it with me when every noise appalls me? What hands are here? Ha! They pluck out mine eyes. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash clean this blood from my hands? No. This, my hand, would rather the multitudinous seas and incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Get on your nightgown. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy it is then. Your constancy hath left you unattended. Hark, more knocking. Retire we to our chamber, lest occasion call us, and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed, 'twere best not know myself. Wake, Duncan, with thy knocking! I would thou couldst.
When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, which that I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. For they sweet love remember that such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings.
Shakespeare said of Helen of Troy, she is a pearl, whose price hath launched above 1,000 ships, and turned crowned heads to merchants.
Shakespeare was not only fascinated with kings, but some of history's most famous women, from Joan of Arc, the infant Elizabeth, and that wily serpent of the Nile, Cleopatra.
A woman is a dish for the gods.
Bring forth the sorceress which is condemned to burn.
First, let me tell you whom you have condemned. Not me, begotten of a shepherd swain,
but issued from the progeny of kings, virtuous and holy, but you that are polluted with your lust, stained with the guiltless blood of innocence, corrupt and tainted with 1,000 vices, because you want the grace that others have. No misconceived. Joan of Arc had been a virgin since her tender infancy. Chaste and immaculate in very thought, whose maiden blood, vigorously effused, will cry for vengeance at the gates of heaven.
Aye, away with her. Execution.
Will nothing turn your unrelenting heart?
Use no entreaty, for it is in vain.
Then leave me hence with whom I leave my curse. And the gloomy shades of death envour you till mischief and despair cause you break your necks or hang yourselves.
Break thou into pieces and consume to ashes, thou foul cursed minister of hell.
This royal infant, heaven still move about her, yet in her cradle does now promise upon this land 1,000 blessings, which time shall bring to ripeness, truth shall nurse her, holy and heavenly thoughts still counsel her. She shall be loved and feared, her own shall bless her. Her foes shake like a field of beaten corn, and hang their heads with sorrow. Good grows with her. In her days every man shall eat in safety, under his vine which he plants, and sing the merry songs of peace to all his neighbors. She shall be, to the happiness of England, an aged princess. Many days shall see her, and yet no day without a deed to crown her. Would I had known no more, but she must die. She must. The saints must have her yet a virgin. A most unspotted lily to the ground she shall pass, and all the world shall mourn her. When I am in heaven, I shall desire to see what this child does, and praise my Maker.
Charmian,
Madam?
give me to drink mandragora.
Why, madam?
That I might sleep out this great gap of time. My Antony is away.
You think of him too much.
Oh, 'tis treason.
Madam, I trust not so.
Thou eunuch, Mardian,
What is your highness's pleasure?
I take no pleasure in aught an eunuch has. Give me music, music, moody food of us that trade in love. Mardian, hast thou affections?
Yes, gracious madam.
Indeed.
Not indeed, madam, for I can do nothing but what is indeed honest to be done. Yet I have fierce affections, and think what Venus did with Mars.
Where thou thinks he is now, stands he, or sits he? Or is he on his horse, or does he walk? O happy horse, to bear the weight of Antony. Did I, Charmian, ever love Caesar so?
The brave Caesar.
I'll be choked with such another emphasis. Say the brave Antony.
The valiant Caesar.
By Isis I will give thee bloody teeth, if thou the Caesar paragon again, my man of men.
Pardon, dear madam, I sing but after you.
My salad days, when I was green in judgment, cold in blood, to say as I said then. How goes it with my brave Mark Antony? Ran thou thy fruitful tidings?
Madam.
Antonius dead! If thou say so, villain, thou killest thy mistress. But well and free, if thou so yield him, there is gold. And here, my bluest veins to kiss, a hand that kings have lipped and trembled kissing.
Madam, hear me.
I have a mind to strike thee ere thou speakest. Yet if thou say Antony lives, is well. or is friends with Caesar, or not captive to him, I'll set thee in a shower of gold and hail rich pearls upon me.
Madam, he's well,
Well said.
and friends with Caesar.
Thou art an honest man.
Caesar and he are greater friends than ever.
Make thee a fortune from me.
But yet,
I do
madam,
not like, but yet. Fie upon but yet. But yet is as a jailer to bring forth some monstrous malefactor. Prithee, friend, pour out the pack of matter into mine ear, the good and bad together. He's friends with Caesar. Thou sayest in a state of health, and thou sayest free.
free, no, madam. I made no such report. He's bound on to Octavia.
For what good turn?
For the best turn of the bed.
I am pale, Charmian.
Madam, he's married to Octavia.
The most infectious pestilence upon thee!
Madam, patience!
What say you? Hence, horrible villain! I'll unhair thy head. Thou shalt be whipped with wire and stewed in brine.
What mean you, madam? I have made no fault.
Say 'tis not so. A province I will give thee, and make thy fortunes proud.
Madam, I that delivered the news made not the match.
Rogue, thou hast lived too long.
Madam, I made no fault.
Good madam, keep yourself and feed yourself. This man is innocent.
Some innocent scape not the thunderbolt. Though I am mad, I will not bite him. Come hither, sir. Though it be honest, it is never good to bring bad news.
I have done my duty.
Is he married? I cannot hate thee worser than I do if thou again say yes.
He is married, madam.
The gods confound thee! Dost thou hold there still?
Should I lie, madam?
Oh, I would, though half my Egypt was submerged and made a cistern for scaled snakes. He is married.
I beg your highness's pardon.
He is married.
He's married to Octavia.
Dost thou behold Octavia?
I, dread queen.
Where?
Madam, in Rome. I looked her in the face and saw her led between her brother and Mark Antony.
Is she as tall as me?
She is not, madam.
Dost thou hear her speak? Is she shrill-tongued or low?
Madam, I heard her speak. She is low-voiced.
That's not so good. He could not like her long.
Like her? Oh, Isis, 'tis impossible.
I think so, Charmian. Dull of tongue and dwarfish. What majesty is in her gait? Remember, if e'er thou look'st on majesty.
Madam, she creeps.
Is this certain?
Or I have no observance.
He's very knowing, I do perceive it. There's nothing in her yet. The fellow has good judgment.
Excellent.
Guess at her years, I prithee.
Madam, she was a widow.
Widow, Charmian, hark!
And I do think she's 30.
Her hair, what color?
Brown, and her forehead as low as she would wish it.
There is gold for thee. Thou must not take my former sharpness ill. I will employ thee back again.
A proper man.
Indeed, he is so. Why, methinks by him this creature's no such thing.
Nothing, madam.
The man hath seen some majesty, and should know.
Hath he seen majesty? Isis self-defend, and serving you for so long.
In praising Antony, I have dispraised Caesar.
Many times, madam.
I paid for it now. Charmian, Mardian, lead me from hence. I faint. Let him forever go. Let him not, Charmian, though he be painted one way like a Gorgon, the other way's a Mars. Pity me, Charmian, but do not speak to me. Lead me to my chamber. I will tell you. The barge she sat in, like a burnished throne, burned on the water. The poop was beaten gold, and purple the sails, and so perfumed that the winds were lovesick. The oars were silver, which to the tune of flutes kept stroke, and made the water which they beat to follow faster, as amorous of their strokes. As for her own person, it beggared all description. She did lie in her pavilion, cloth of gold of tissue, and on either side of her stood pretty, dimpled boys like smiling cupids, with divers-colored fans, whose wind did seem to glow the cheeks, which they did cool, and what they undid, did. Her gentlewoman, that like the Nereides, so many mermaids tended her in the eyes and made their bends adornings. At the helm, a seeming mermaid steers. From the barge, a strange and invisible perfume hits the sense of the adjacent wharf. The city cast her people out upon her, and Antony, enthroned in the marketplace, did sit alone, whistling to the air, which but for vacancy had gone to gaze on Cleopatra too. Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. Other women cloy the appetites they feed, but she makes hungry where most she satisfies.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptered sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest God's, when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, we do pray for mercy. And that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy.
He hath disgraced me, and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies, and what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not seek revenge? If we are alike you in the rest, then we will resemble you in that.
I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth. And indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition, that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, fretted with golden fire, why, it appears nothing more to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, but yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, nor women neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so. I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps into this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays with lighted fools away to a dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and is heard no more. It is a tale full of sound and fury, told by an idiot, signifying nothing.
To show our simple skill, that is the true beginning of our end. Consider then, we come but in despite, we do not come, as minded to content you, our true intent is. All for your delight, we are not here. That you should here repent you, the actors are at hand. And by their show, you shall know all that you are like to know. Gentles, perchance you wonder at this show, but wonder on till truth makes all things plain. This man is Pyramus, if you will know, this beauteous Lady Thisbe, certain. This man with lime and rough cast doth represent Wall, that vile Wall which did these lovers sunder, and through Wall's chink. Poor souls there content to whisper, at the which let no man wonder. This man, with lantern, dog, and bush of thorn, presenteth moonshine. By moonshine did these lovers think no scorn to meet them at there to woo. This grisly beast which lie in height by name, and the trusty Thisbe coming first by night, did scare away, or rather did affright.
Roar!
And as she fled, her mantle she did fall, where lion, vie with bloody mouth, did stain. Anon, come Pyramus, sweet youth and tall, and finds his trusty Thisbe's mantle slain, whereat with bloody, blameful blade, he bravely broached his boiling, bloody breast, and Thisbe, tarrying in mulberry shade, his dagger drew, and died. For all the rest, let lion, moonshine, Wall, and lovers twain at large discourse while they here do remain.
In this same interlude, it doth befall that I, one snout by name, present a wall. And such a wall as I would have you think had in it a crannied hole or chink, through which the lovers
Pyramus
and Thisbe did often whisper very secretly, this loam, this rough cast, and this stone doth show I am that same Wall. The truth is so. And this, the cranny, is right and sinister, through which the fearful lovers are to whisper.
O grim looked night, O night with hue so black, O night whichever art when day is not, O night, alack, alack, alack. I fear my Thisbe's promises forgot, and thou, O Wall, O sweet, O lovely Wall, that stands between her father's ground and mine, thou, O Wall, O sweet, O lovely Wall, show me thy chink that I may blink through with mine eye. Thanks, courteous wall. Jove shield thee well for this. But what see I? No Thisbe do I see. O wicked wall, through whom I see no bliss, cursed be thy stones for thus deceiving me. Cursed be thy stones for thus deceiving me.
Oh, wall. How often hast thou heard my moans? For parting my fair Pyramus and me, my cherry lips have often kissed thy stones. Thy stones with line and hair, get up in me.
I see a voice. Now will I to the chink, and I may spy, and I can hear my Thisbe's face. Thisbe!
My love thou art, my love, I think.
Think what thou wilt, but I am thy lover's grace, and like Lamander am I trusty still.
And I like Helen, till the fates me kill.
Not Shaphalus to Procrus was so true.
I Shaphus to Procrus, I to you.
Oh, kiss me through the hole of this vile wall.
I kiss the wall's hole, not your lips at all.
Wilt thou at Ninny's tomb meet me straight away?
Tide wife, tide death, I come without delay.
And thus have I, wall, my part discharged so, and being done, thus wall away doth go.
You ladies, you whose gentle hearts roar, do fear the smallest monstrous mouse that creeps roar perchance both wake and tremble near when lion, rough and wild as rage doth roar, roar, then know that I, as Snug the joiner, am a lion fella. Roar. Else no lions damn. For if I should as a lion come and strike into this place, roar, were pity on my life.
This lantern doth the hoarded moon present. This lantern doth the hoarded moon present. Myself, the man in the moon do seem to be. All I have to say to you is that this lantern is the moon, I, the man in the moon, this thorn bush, my thorn bush, and this John, my dog.
It is my line, right? Where's my love?
Oh. Roar! 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 Roar!
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright. For by thy gracious, golden, glittering gleams, I trust to take thy truest Thisbe sight. But stay, O spite! But mark, poor knight, what dreadful dole is here? Eyes do you see? How can it be? O dainty duck, O dear, thy mantle good, what stained with blood? Approach, ye furies fell. Come, fates, come, come, cut thread and thrum, quail, crush, conclude, and quell. O wherefore, nature, didst thou lion's frame? For lion vile hath deflowered my dear, which is, which was the fairest dame, that lived, that loved, that liked, that looked upon with cheer. Come, tears confound, out sword and wound that pap of Pyramus, I, that left pap, where heart doth hop. Thus I die, thus. Now I am dead, now I am fled, my soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light, moon, take thy flight. Now die.
Asleep, my love? What dead, my dove? O Pyramus, arise! Speak. Quite dumb. Attuned. Must cover thy sweet eyes, these lily lips, this cherry nose, these yellow cowslip cheeks. Are gone. Lovers make moan. His eyes were as green as leeks. O sisters three, come to me, with hands as pale as milk, lay them in gore. Since you have shore, with shears as thread of silk, tongue not a word, come thirsty swerve, come bleed my breast and brew. And farewell, friends, and thus Thisbe ends. Adieu.
As we foretold you, we're all spirits,
and are melted into air.
Into thin air!
And like the baseless fabric of this vision,
The cloud-capped towers,
The gorgeous palaces,
the solemn temples,
The very globe itself.
Aye, all that it inherent shall dissolve.
And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind.
we
are such stuff
As
dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
Not long, I pray you, for our clay needs no excuse.
If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme, no more yielding, but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And, as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck, now to escape the serpent's tongue, we shall make amends ere long, else the puck a liar call. So, good night unto you all. Give me your hands, if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.